Welcome to a special presentation of Bay Area News Update presents The Victim Blaming Show with me, Bay from the East Bay. As you all know, the President of the United States tested positive for coronavirus and is currently being treated at Walter Reed Medical Center. Unfortunately for Trump, he has several pre-existing conditions that make him especially vulnerable to COVID, including the fact that he's old, obese, and a low-income person of unnatural color. While it's unclear how bad the president's condition is based on the unhinged video he released of himself a few hours ago, it's bad. If he recovers, the lingering damage to his lung could mean he'll have to walk even slower down ramps. Tonight's episode is playfully called The Victim Blaming Show because Trump only has himself to blame for hopefully being on the brink of death. For months, he downplayed the severity of the virus and refused to wear a mask while making fun of others who did. So I'm going to tell the president what men have told me, a sexual assault survivor. If you didn't want something bad to happen to you, honey, you should have covered up. All this news comes after it was reported earlier this week from a team of scientists at the University of Queensland that time travel is indeed popular. If so, clearly someone has traveled back in time to kill, behaves like a baby Hitler. In the days since Trump has been confirmed as testing positive for the disease, several Republicans in close contact with the president have all tested positive. If you ask me, I think we should just let the disease wash over the Republican Party, see how it plays out. They'll be fine with their herd mentality. It has become more than apparent that last week's White House event for Trump's pick to fill Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat on the Supreme Court, Amy Coney Barrett, is where the disease spread, with so far 7 attendees being confirmed as having tested positive. Amy, who has a history of being anti-abortion, was in attendance with her 3 children, all of whom were not wearing masks and in close contact or in close proximity to those infected. The irony of her beliefs while actively endangering her children's lives. Her level of judgment is clearly missing from the Supreme Court, and hopefully it stays that way. Earlier today, former governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, was the latest to not only test positive, but to also be hospitalized. Christie is especially vulnerable to the disease, being as morbidly obese as he is, in addition to having asthma. As such, he has been checked into the intensive cake unit, where he may need to be hooked up to a ventilator tot. With Christie being expected to need several beds, it is expected to lead to an even bigger shortage. For anyone who's upset that I would fat shame the former governor of New Jersey, I wouldn't be. In fact, I would blame yourselves for his condition. All this time you wasted fat shaming women like Ashley Graham and Lizzo, all that time you should have been fat shaming him. Maybe he would have done something about his weight if you had pointed it out to him on an Instagram post. Honey, if you didn't want people to comment about your weight, maybe you should have worked out on that public beach you shut down for your private use. Also infected with the disease was First Lady Melania Trump. When asked how she was feeling, she replied, "I am not at my best." I joke, but I don't understand how the president could even contract the virus after he told us he was taking hydroxychloroquine months ago because he received so many positive calls about it. Do you mean to tell me that witch doctor from Africa was lying? This should be a wake-up call for Trump supporters who are still in denial about how susceptible they are as they gather in mass crowds in front of Walter Reed Medical Center in support of the president. Lest we not forget that just 2 years ago, ex-White House doctor Ronnie Jackson said the president had excellent genes because that's how God made him. So if someone eats as much junk food and never works out but somehow has excellent genes, could get it, then truly any one of us can. Now, before I get canceled, I remind you that I am just a comedian and I am just kidding. Just like Trump said about his comments regarding the injection of bleach during the debates, I too am being sarcastic, and everyone knows it. I said it just to see what the media would do. But in all honesty, on behalf of the 200,000 plus lives lost to this disease, the fallen soldiers on Trump's watch, the fact that he didn't care if Putin placed a bounty on their heads, the countless children and immigrants who have died in the detention centers, the black lives lost at the hands of racist policemen who all support the man who allows them to kill innocent black and brown lives without consequences, the Native women who go missing on a regular basis and are not being protected by our government, the black trans women who are killed at such disproportionately high rates, on behalf of all these people, I say to you, what Joaquin Phoenix said to Robert De Niro.
Get what you fucking deserve!
It was a great movie, wasn't it? Okay, let's get serious for a minute. All jokes aside, from the bottom of my heart, I hope the president doesn't die of this disease. That would not be good. Because nothing would give me greater pleasure than to watch him defeat it, only to rot in prison and get taken out Epstein style. We close our show with a quick Bay Area news update. An orphan mountain lion cub was rescued from the Zog fire and taken to the Oakland Zoo to be treated for severe burns. Veterinarians say the cub is expected to recover and is already showing signs of improvement by playing and singing with the zoo's warthog and meerkat. Rents have continued to plummet in San Francisco and, according to Zumper, have dropped 20% since last year. So if you're like me and you're hoping that you'll be able to move back to San Francisco, you still can't afford it, bitch! Governor Gavin Newsom got his flu shot during a live-streamed press conference. The minute he stripped off his jacket and rolled up his sleeve, lusty single women in their 30s got their shot of the governor's gently used biceps. No shade at all. I like a man who is as soft in muscle as he is on holding the Vallejo police accountable. Fleet Week is going virtual this year. While people will be able to virtually explore docked ships, sailors will unfortunately have to virtually explore docked women in quarantine by subscribing to their OnlyFans. Whew, alcohol's getting to me. And finally, my hometown Hayward apologized after letters on White House stationery containing what it called political propaganda and the signature of President Trump were discovered in hundreds of boxes of free food that were being distributed at Chabot College. Recipients struggling with food scarcity saw the letter and immediately lost their appetite. Thank you for watching this very special presentation of Bay Area News Update with me, Linda Landeros. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find that by hitting the link in my bio. And make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok at Linda Landeros. And I'll see you next time, if I don't get canceled.